If you ask the pros, what is the best character in the game, they will tell you idiotic things like, oh, it depends on team comp, and oh, what time of the game is it? I call Croc. The only way to determine the best hero in the game is through a 6v6 mono-hero single elimination tournament. That is the only 100% fair way. Today's match?
Mirage versus Infernus, ladies and gentlemen. Yet another game of the most amazing tournament on planet Earth. No, it's not FIFA World Cup. No, it's not whatever the hell they do in League. LCS, I think, something like that. I don't care enough. It is One Trick Championship. It is Mirage versus Infernus. And this is a funky match, isn't it? Want to talk a little bit about how Ginsmark and the Afterburn work occurs?
Yes, as far as we are aware currently, Mirage is kind of at a disadvantage in this match because of how Ginsmark works. Apparently, according to testing done by GlutenSnake's community, Ginsmark, once applied by one Mirage, cannot be incremented by other Mirages, which gives it a similar situation to Haze.
Yes, it's an immediate override. And on the other hand, Infernus's Afterburn, you can apply multiple Infernus's Afterburn to the same person. And it's just a lot better, right? Because you just need to burn that person once and then you can keep pushing. I think that it's going to be very interesting to see. The Hazes handled their fixation problem in lane by having just one person in each lane be the one who applied fixation. And then, you know, later in the game, they had to all take it, of course. But now we're going to see how the Mirages are going to approach it. They do have a huge advantage, which is they can press their 3 button and have their Ginsmark do damage immediately. So that's going to be a bit funky. I do have to say, we're discussing a little bit about their ult. So Mirage's ult doesn't do any damage per se, but it allows you universal map presence. So it means like anytime there's a fight, immediately all the Mirages can be there. How would you evaluate the impact of having one Mirage in the team be able to join any fight if need be, versus the impact of having 6 Mirages in the team join the fight if need be? Does it mean the Mirages win every fight, or does it mean that the effects are a lot more scaled down because you only need 1 or 2 Mirages to be able to gank at any point to win a fight?
I definitely think that the ultimate probably will not be winning any fights, but it will allow the Mirages to play more aggressively. And it will also allow the Mirages to shut down any and all attempts to split push. Because, I mean, really, how are you going to split push against this team? One Mirage alone already can severely hinder a split push, but when you've got 6 Mirages teleporting on you, that's going to be a lot bigger issue than just one singular Mirage in a regular game.
Yeah, no, it's going to be very tough. You're going to have to get picks. And I mean, to be fair, Infernus is pretty good at getting picks. If they ever catch you out of position, you will be afterburned and then flame dash to death. Yeah, we already are seeing it here. Those flame dashes are very good. They allow the Infernuses to get out of any bad fights pretty easily, and also at the same time keep applying that afterburn. And as we know, reapplying afterburn is going to be so easy because of the way that Infernuses are coded in the game. So I'm very curious to see how the mid game will go. The early game, I would have normally thought would be very Mirage favored. Mirage is arguably one of the, if not the strongest laner in the game, isn't it, Occurs? But we see a 2k difference, well now a 1k difference. We don't see like an immediate Mirage advantage.
Yeah, definitely. But you also have to consider the fact that Infernus is also a very excellent laner. Even after the removal of solo lanes, Infernus in a lane is still a character that you need to be mindful of.
Yes. However, like when I think of Infernus, I think of like more direct counters. Stuff like Decay and Healbane is scarier for an Infernus than it is for a Mirage. That's at least my take on it. And when you have 6 of these Infernuses, I assume that we're going to be seeing a lot of very early decays and such from the Mirage's team.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I believe we're going to be seeing a lot of slowing hexes from the Infernus as well. Possibly slowing hexes on the Mirage side.
Yeah. You are the one who can much more easily tell us who's playing what. So if you keep an eye on the items, see anything interesting happening, that would be great. some other techs like Withering Whip, which in theory are good against Infernuses, are likely not to be used because the Infernuses can keep reapplying the same burn. But this is like one big meta question for the whole tournament. Are the worst characters not the ones that have the worst skills, but the ones that have the most obvious items that counter them? Like, it's very obvious that slowing Hex really, really hampers Shiv and Calico, for example, right? And we do already see the first pick from the Infernus side. It's Big Pick on Conquer.
I definitely think that in this tournament, ooh, and we're seeing a Mirage ult towards that mid lane, like I just said. Back onto what I was trying to say, I definitely think this tournament, having a character that has good abilities and not easy counters really, really helps. But I think a lot of the early wipeouts in this
Hey folks, so sorry, we had a very small technical difficulty, all sorted right now. We are ready to continue talking about this game. What were we even talking about, Curse? We were just so distracted by the technical difficulties.
I do not remember what I was saying.
Well, that Infernus survives with... Oh, well, he doesn't survive. Very small amount of health.
Yeah, I believe you jinxed that Infernus there.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, he's fine. He's vibing. But no, I do like this Mirage ult tech. Whenever like a Mirage dies in the lane, there's immediately one Mirage to replace him. And then immediately the Mirage just goes back to the lane. I think I love this alternation because it means you keep having these healthy Mirages come in, even when the Infernuses are bruised. I think it's a very, very smart choice from the Mirage side.
Yeah, I did notice that. It's incredibly smart. But I do think the Mirages are going to have a lot of plans already. Because I went in there earlier and I asked what their game plan was. Obviously, I'm not going to say anything, but they had been saying that they were planning a lot.
Ooh, that's good. I mean, it is a tough matchup because of the Jin Mark problem, and the way that you solve it, because it's not as fundamental to the kit as Haze's fixation is, and it also you have the ability to like immediately activate your Jin's marks. So I think that it is very good to have like good plans on how you're going to alternate. I think these plans are bringing into fruition. 8 minutes in, equal souls, pretty much. Very good stuff. How are we doing kill-wise? 1 to 3, like pretty normal kill count, frankly.
Right on cue, as I had called it, we see 4 slowing hexes from the Infernuses right now.
From the Infernuses? Just to stop the tornado?
And yeah, a lot of Mirage's utility in lane comes from that tornado, so it's a very reasonable thing to do against 6 Mirages.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. I
We also see several decays from the Mirages right now to stop that Infernus healing.
Yeah, no, I mean, Decay is just going to be so fundamental. It's such a good item against a couple of heroes in lane. Abrams, Mo and Krill, Infernus. Heroes that have a lot of, like, natural healing. It's just, well, does Infernus have natural healing until he maxes out? He doesn't.
Infernus does have natural healing. His Catalyst grants lifesteal.
Oh, Catalyst grants lifesteal. Perfect, perfect. I don't think I played, I mean, I played, like, a couple of games of Infernus, but I don't think I've really, like, explored the character. Probably like months ago at this point. But yeah, Infernus has lifesteal. I see a lot of infusers around, which are, you know, maybe not universally fantastic anymore, but they're still very damn good with Infernus. Dishes out a lot of spirit damage. This is actually a very interesting question. The fact that you can only have one active afterburn at a time on one person, doesn't that kind of mess up your lifesteal strategy if you're an Infernus? Is that like gonna impact?
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, because
we were thinking that Infernuses might be like getting to finals, but that might just be the key to defeating Infernus, because there's only one Infernus to heal off that afterburn at a time, because only one afterburn can be applied. I think we've been thinking about Infernuses strength in this wrong.
Yeah, this is just a random thought that I had right now. Because yeah, I think Infernus is very good. I think the fact that you could have 6 afterburns on everybody is gonna be fantastic. But what happens if you have like 4 afterburns applied by the same character and then the other Infernuses are just not life leeching at all? They're gonna be like I'm sure there's an English expression that I can't think of right now. We're like stuck in place or like stuck like a dead goose. I don't know. You tell me, Akers. You're the native English speaker here.
It's really funny. I think the word you're looking for is deadlock.
Deadlock. Oh my god. Did they made deadlock into a real phrase? That's insane, actually. Do you think they're gonna make pause lock into a real phrase after, or
Possibly.
possibly? But yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about Infernuses and their objective damage. So you would think Infernuses have like excellent objective damage because of their ability to keep burning. However, all objectives take 50% less damage from spirit damage, which is not good when the vast majority of your damage is going to be coming from those afterburns. I mean, you can play Gun Infernus, I guess. I don't know how many will play Gun Infernus. Maybe you can check a little bit to see if there's some Gun Infernus items. But yeah.
I think right now would be way too early to call if one of them is going Gun Infernus.
Yes.
But
no,
I definitely think Infernus is possibly will struggle with objectives. Because you have to remember, Infernus doesn't do much gun damage, and as we were talking about, Infernus can only have 1 afterburn applied at a time.
Yeah. I think it's, I want to say, at the 11:44 minute mark, this game's equal. Like, yes, there's like a small, tiny difference for the Infernuses, but it's a pretty equal game, and I'm really a huge fan of this. I don't know if we're gonna see like an immediate swoop now that it's mid-game, now that Infernus has some of their core kit. Do any of the Infernuses have toxic bullets yet?
No, but we do see a toxic bullet on Stark on the Mirage side.
Oh, I mean, toxic bullets is pretty core. Siphon bullets, toxic bullets, pretty core stuff for Mirage. Mirage doesn't have like an incredible amount of damage, so you need those boosters like toxic bullets and siphon bullets, right? To like really keep damage parity up. Mirage's kit doesn't like coordinate or mesh well with each other, right? Anyhow, we do see one of the Infernuses note that they have the first debuff reducer. What do you think? The remover, sorry. What do you think about that? I would have expected the Mirages having the first debuff remover.
I definitely think debuff remover is going to be a key item in this, but I'm not surprised that Infernus has had it first because of those tornadoes. When considering the debuff remover, you have to consider the fact that debuff remover works against tornado. So if a Mirage, I mean not Mirage, if a Infernus gets caught by that tornado, Infernus can debuff remove it alongside all of the debuffs that the Mirage had already applied, like Toxic Bullets and his Jin's Mark and Fire Scarab.
I didn't
debuff
know
remover
that.
is an excellent item against this comp right now.
No, that's actually very interesting. That makes sense. As I said, not a lot of Infernus, not a lot of Mirage experience. I always think of debuff remover in conjunction with Infernuses because it's a very good tech. Anyhow, we do see the Infernuses pushing Urn. The Mirages are out of position. They do have ults if they wish to contest right now, but it seems like they won't. It's a free Urn for the Infernuses.
Yeah,
Very
and that is
interesting.
going to hurt for the Mirages quite a bit because that Urn gave Infernuses a pretty significant lead. They're about 10,000 right now.
Yes. And I mean, it's just very hard. Like, there's no McGinnis gun or something that can like easily force objectives for one side. But yeah, we keep seeing the big power of these stuns from the ults, right? Ult into ult into ult, and suddenly you have like these massive stun zones. And I think that's going to be one core power of Infernus that's going to compensate for the problem that we've noted, which is the Infernuses struggle with getting their life leech through. Yeah, do we think they're gonna back up? Probably right here. They've already gotten a lot of picks. Big advantage coming in. One of the Infernus is caught out of position with not enough Mirages to follow. Have we seen a lot of Mirage coordinated ganks yet? I don't think so. We've seen stuff in lane, like the Mirage swaps, but nothing like, oh, starting a battle, putting a tornado on one Infernus, and then immediately 2 Mirages show up to secure a kill.
Yeah, I don't believe we have seen much of that, but it's difficult to tell, like, what each team is going to be doing, thinking about, because we aren't in their voice chats. We can't hear what they're planning right now.
Oh yeah, it's a bit tough. I really would love to hear what they think. This is more Eternus versus Initiate stuff where I try very hard to not have my beautiful voice, the beautiful, ugly voice, be in the voice chats, and instead of using the voice chat of the team. But yeah, we keep seeing these 1v1s are not going well for the Mirages. These group settings, though, very interesting stuff. We do see some of the Mirages already max Jin's mark, and they're getting big picks. They might be doing a little bit of a comeback, especially if they can push the Walker here while there's 2 Infernuses down. Or at least get 2 picks on that fight on lane number 1.
To be as expected, every single Infernus right now is going into that afterburn damage, which I think is a pretty big mistake for how Infernus works here.
Yes, I mean, you only want 1 or 2 Infernuses to have the afterburn, right? And the rest could focus on the rest of the kit. Just getting some catalysts in, getting some flame dashes in. But yeah, big push happening on the Walker. I am a little bit surprised that the ganking isn't really happening from the Mirages the way that we would have liked, right? There's just like... But I guess it's just because the Infernuses are applying so much pressure to the Mirages that they're forcing them to always be out of position. The Infernuses are playing really well.
The Infernuses are not letting the Mirages breathe for even 1 second.
Yeah, no, it's very good. It's very smart, even. Do we see any debuff reducers or removers from the Mirage's side yet? Or maybe have they given...
We see 5 debuff reducers on the Mirage. 6, actually, speak to the devil, because Manuel just got it. Every single Mirage currently has debuff reducer. I think these Mirages need to be buying that Spirit Shield, that debuff reducer against this, because if I noticed that all the Infernuses are going at Afterburn, then certainly everyone else on the Mirage team noticed.
Yeah, 100%. It's just such an obvious thing. Like, when you see these top players play, they're always checking what the other people's items are. Very frequently, when I have like Eternus players in the chat, as in my team games, they'll always click and be like, "Oh, this guy has curse. This guy has siphon bullets, whatever." Like the cool text that actually change how you interact with the character. But yeah, Infernuses are very much doing this hit and run tactics instead of like forcing 6v6 fights. Which I think would be like the most excellent thing for them to do, just force big 6v6 fights. The Mirages don't scale fantastically in 6v6 fights. They have the big Jinsmark problem, while your Afterburn does. Do you think we're going to see a Ricochet from the Infernuses? Or do you think that's a bit mean?
I think there is a chance we see a Ricochet, but I do not think it is likely. Mostly because I do think Ricochet would be bought if you could have several Afterburns applied. But because you can only have 1 Afterburn per target, that kind of complicates the purchase and makes it honestly kind of redundant, unless you're like planning on having only 1 person shoot at the enemy until they get burned.
Yeah, I mean, like this is the problem. We saw it in the McGinnis versus Pocket game where the ending of the game was not because of some like character difference, but because the Pockets had 5 afflictions be done by them at the same time, hence overriding one another. So I don't know, it's just very difficult to coordinate people, because people are like, oh yeah, I want to burn this person, that's how the character works. And normally it wouldn't be a problem, but suddenly when you have 6, you want the character with the most spirit damage, for example, to be the one applying the afterburn. Anyhow, the difference is about 8k. It's stayed like this for the past couple of minutes. The game is still pretty equal, and I think the next turn is coming. And, ooh, big grab on the Guardian too. Is that a flex? No, that's already gone. They've already got a flex on.
It's just that makes them equal on objective, which is a very good accomplishment for the Mirages right now.
Well, equal on objectives. I'm looking at that Walker number 1, and it's very low. It's probably even backdoorable by whoever the strongest of the Infernuses is, if they really wanted to. Hopefully,
I honestly don't think that's backdoorable, to be honest. Mirage doesn't, I mean not Mirage, sorry. Infernus doesn't have that much gun damage, and that spirit damage from Afterburn is going to be doing very little.
Interesting. I think I saw an escalating resilience from one of the Infernuses. I'm curious what they're been. Do we see the spirit armors from the Mirages come in right now?
We see a few spirit armors from the Mirages right now, and we see several escalating resiliences from the Infernuses. We see 3 of them right now.
Interesting choice. I presume because the Mirages cannot rely on their Jin's mark, so they have to rely on their guns. But I presume Siphon Bullets is going to be the next major purchase for a bunch of these Mirages, just to deal with the fact that Siphon Bullets is a great way to get damage without getting any resistances in, right? And
yes.
Yeah. But yeah, no, very interesting game so far. It's a little bit behind for the Mirage, but still pretty equal. Very big action coming in. Yeah, the Infernuses keep pressing 4 and then waltzing in position. I do see one of the Mirages decides to run away. This is like an interesting way to use the ult, because normally it's just, oh, it enables ganks, right? But we can see a lot more running away if necessary. Oh, what was that? Oh, debuff remover. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, Manuel is in a little bit of a precarious position. He does get back, and I think that's going to be enough to get the Walker here. First Walker done for the Infernuses.
That is the second flex slot for the Infernuses, which is going to be really dangerous for the Mirages.
Yeah, like flex slots are just really powerful. In the game, of course, a 500 soul item is a lot more bang for your buck than a 6,000 soul item. So having the ability to just pick some cheaper items instead of being forced to your more expensive items is just so valuable. Even like an equal souls game without flex slots, you're doing a lot worse than your opponent. Regardless, Mirages are still very much pressuring. They're doing a lot of damage. I'm surprised the Jin's mark is not being clicked right there.
Currently on the map right now, we have 5 debuff removers already across both teams.
5 debuff removers? Only 5?
Yes, and everyone else in the game has debuff reducer if they don't have debuff remover.
Do you think we're gonna see silences? Because those are also things that enable you to have less effect. Like it reduces debuffs, right? Silencer?
I think we have a chance of seeing silencer on the Infernus.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's something that would be a priority. I think it would probably be a luxury item for late game.
Yes. Without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, the Mirages are struggling a little bit as the Infernuses keep ramping up. Now, we already see a lot of damage happening on Walker number 3. Walker number 2 is still safe. The wave is coming in. One of the Infernuses very cheekily is approaching base right now. No, he's just gonna back. Steel farm and back. Yeah, it's starting to become a little bit more precarious for the Mirages. The big mid to late game boom is really coming in handy for the Infernuses. They keep escaping these fights with 200 damage. Oh! As I say that, the Jin's mark triggers, and it's only a person's kill. Yeah. Walker number 2 is down. Walker number 3 might be down, especially if this Mirage dies. Yep. It's just proving very, very difficult.
And we're already seeing the Infernuses group around that Walker that the Mirages died at.
European Gundam Infernus was the way. It's good. I mean, like, yeah, I know that a lot of Europeans play Gundam Infernus, so like spirit-oriented Infernuses. But that's presumably, we do see a lot more Infernuses in Europe as well. And there's just such an obvious counter to Afterburn, which is debuff remover, right? And that's something you're grabbing every single game. But yeah, the Mirages keep dying, and that staggering is really, really hurting them. Taking these, oh my god, one of the Mirages is DC'd.
I will go check on them for a second.
That's actually a little bit of a wonky situation. Yeah, I really hope that's not a surrender, because that would be really, really, really bad. Well, this is a good time. I presume this part isn't going to make it into the video, but it's a good time to look at the builds. Oh, hello. I mean, pretty normal stuff. We keep seeing toxic bullets everywhere. Very normal. You really need it for anti-counter. Rated Jerry didn't want to join unless he was, unless the teams were balanced. I don't know. I mean, I think the teams are balanced right now. Also, I didn't want Jerry to give up his game. I don't know. European gun Infernus does hurt. I mean, like, it's very hard to predict what happens in game, right? It's just the 6 Mirages are not necessarily going to do fantastic. I really hope we don't have to redo this game because one of the Mirages decided to DC. I swear. Oh, I swear, if we have to redo this game, I will be so angry. God. Yeah. Well, there might be an opportunity for Jerry to play yet if one of the Mirages is having internet problems. We're back. We're back. It was just an internet problem, it seems. And we're waiting for a Curse to join us. Anyhow.
Yeah.
Are you here, Curse?
Yeah. Hello.
Perfect. Hello. This is the nature of being in the beta. Sometimes you're going to have these internet problems. Anyhow, the Infernus have a commanding lead right now. It's pretty big. The last thing left to do is the siege of the base. Now, can we talk a little bit about mid? Now, there's two very interesting things going on. Infernus is one of the best mid securing abilities in the game, without a shadow of a doubt. And especially when you have a couple Infernuses coming, it's dangerous. But Mirages have something even more special, right, Curse?
Yes, Mirage's tier 3 for his ultimate is unstoppable, similar to Abrams. You just don't see it bot much early because that unstoppable is pretty niche, in all honesty. Mirage's unstoppable requires him to teleport to someone with ultimate, which is tier 3, which doesn't really sound useful, but for mid, that could be key for them being able to deny that mid box.
Yeah, no, that's gonna be so important. It's just very unexpected, right? Because you would think like 5 Infernus ults would cause you to just lose the game. To lose mid anytime, but no, you just have inbuilt unstoppables in some of these characters like Yamato, Abrams, and Mirage. Just the Mirage is very niche. Anyhow, 2 big picks coming in, 2v1 picks actually. This push is still very much in favor of the Infernuses. The Mirages can go back and heal, but they're going to lose some base guardians for it. Do any of the Mirages have max ults right
now? No, not as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very important. We do see a ricochet from one of the Infernuses. We were discussing this, right? I think it's just going to be very important because once you have a whole field of people you've applied Afterburn to, just one Infernus with the most spirit damage having ricochet. Actually, this probably isn't the Infernus with the most spirit damage. I see a lot of... Yeah.
It's actually kind of strange. They bought 3 ricochets.
3 ricochets? That's... I mean, they just want to keep Afterburn on every single time. I don't know. I think it's working. The strategy is working. They're 40k ahead. It's a very significant lead. The Mirages have grabbed Urn, though. That might change things. I know that there's still like a Magician Urn bug you can do. Is there a Mirage Urn bug or like fully fixed?
I don't believe the Mirage Urn teleport is still in game. I know Magician still is, but not Mirage, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah. No,
and either way, doing that in a tournament like this where it isn't that serious is
It's
Kinda
very sweaty, very try hard.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do love like this torrent of stuns. You just like send one guy forward, stun, create space, grab guardians. It's very smart play by the Infernus. The Infernus are definitely coordinating very well with each other. Like, and mid is starting here. Do we have any unstoppable Mirages?
Still no.
No.
I don't know
Oh,
if the
that's
Mirages
really
will be able
bad.
to contest this.
They opt to just grab Urn instead. Yeah, which is fine. It's smart. They're not in a good position. Yeah, with one or two Mirages might have been enough to contest this, sadly. But yeah, we were talking about Mirage strategy. I would have expected one or two of them to have maxed ult first. But yeah, now you just have to like huddle up in base. I do have to say the Infernus's impact is a lot lessened if you have that base capable of healing you, right? Whenever they damage you. So you can just go quickly heal, poke from behind, keep those toxic bullets up. Toxic bullets also, you can only trigger one of them at a time, but all the Mirages trigger each other's toxic bullet. So it's kind of similar to the Afterblow. But yeah, this base assault is gonna be very difficult. I don't see how Mirages get picks here. I can see how they maybe might be able to get trades, but you don't want trades when your opponent has region.
Yeah.
First ult comes in, second ult comes in. Yeah, let's take out Mirage. Which one of the 6 Mirages do you want to take out? Okay.
I definitely think that this doesn't, I think, signify the end of the game. Because we've seen McGinnis's come back from relatively same situations.
Oh yeah, like the exact same situation. 40k behind, well 30k behind actually. Yeah, we'll see what happens. However, if picks like this happen, it's gonna be a lot more difficult. Yeah, they're going into
I might
base
be eating
now.
my words right now. I believe that actually might have been enough for the Infernus.
Yeah, that was a very big push. Very big push. The Infernuses are coming in trying to... Sorry, the Mirages are trying to come in, do one last thing, and that's probably not going to be enough. GG.
Yeah, and that's game.
That is game. Hello, Infernuses. Congratulations on your victory. What do you think was the MVP of the match? That could be a person, could be the character itself,
Gun
could be a
build,
specific
bro.
ability.
Combustion.
Like the Europeans came in clutch.
Combustion, bro.
It has to be
I
combustion.
face tanked like 3 Mirages with
That
my
ult
Zerkia,
just gives
but,
us so much leverage.
like, no.
So, European
the
gun
ult
build
crazy.
and combustion were the 2 MVPs, right?
Yeah.
Hello guys. What do you think went wrong? Was it a question of strategy, or is it the case that this match was unwinnable for the Mirages?
I think. I don't know.
Go ahead.
I don't think it's winnable because like your Dejin like cancels each other out. So
Yeah, so
like Infernus can just keep stacking Afterburn.
Another game unfortunately decided by the game's code rather than the skill of the players or the strength of the character. This is actually a good incentive for you to like, comment, and subscribe to this video. If this channel blows up, becomes big enough, we can demand that Yoshi fix all these bugs, okay? Go subscribe right now. I'm telling you right now.